Mark Rich's ex-wife to Bill Clinton's presidential library. My predecessor as United States Attorney in Manhattan, Mary Jo White, had opened an investigation focused on whether there was evidence of a corrupt bargain when I became United States Attorney in January 2002, I inherited the investigation, which had been the subject of media stories. I knew something about the case because I had actually been in charge of the fugitive hunt for Mark Rich when I was a federal prosecutor in Manhattan a decade earlier. Rich was then represented by prominent lawyers, among them Scooter Libby. Well before his tenure as Dick Cheney's chief of staff, in 1992, I flew to Zurich with other law enforcement officials for what we were told by Rich's attorneys would be negotiations for his surrender. According to his lawyers, Rich would turn himself in once he saw that his prosecutors were honorable people. Along with my boss, United States Attorney Otto Obermeyer, I met Rich and Pincus Green in the presidential suite of a grand hotel overlooking Lake Zurich to make arrangements for them to surrender in New York. That was when we discovered that Rich actually had no intention of surrendering without first negotiating a deal that promised him no prison time. He went into a long discourse about his charitable works and the merits of his case, saying, "I don't want to spend a day in jail." Overmeyer replied, "We won't make that promise." He explained that we would not negotiate cases with fugitives, and Rich was welcome to make all these arguments after he appeared in federal court in Manhattan. We had no power under Swiss law to arrest him, so we left Switzerland and continued our efforts to capture Rich when he traveled. Bill Clinton ended that fugitive hunt with a stroke of his pen. Now I was the United States Attorney investigating whether the pen stroke had been bought. I could see why that would have made Senator Clinton feel awkward about meeting me. In the end, we did not find sufficient evidence to bring any charges and close the case or pass. I assumed we're unlikely to cross again. On July 6, 2015, the Bureau received a referral from the Inspector General of Intelligence Community, a congressionally created independent office focused on finding risks and vulnerabilities across the nation's vast intelligence community. The referral raised the issue of whether Secretary of State Hillary Clinton had mishandled classified information while using her personal email system. On July 10th, the FBI opened a criminal investigation. The Obama administration's Justice Department, then run by Attorney General Loretta Lynch, assigned prosecutors to support the investigation. As with hundreds of other investigations, the case was open at the FBI far below my level, and I learned of it when the deputy director briefed me on it. The facts of the case were straightforward. Hillary Clinton had used her personal email system on a server and with an email address that was entirely of her own creation. To conduct her work as Secretary of State, she set the server up several months after taking office. For the first few months of her tenure, she had used a personal AT&T BlackBerry email address before switching to ClintonEmail.com domain. In the course of doing her work, she emailed with other state employees. In the course of emailing those people, the Inspector General discovered she and they talked about classified topics in the body of dozens of their emails. Though much has been made since of Hillary Clinton's emails and the FBI's investigation, the focus of the Bureau's investigation is often lost. The criminal investigation was not centered on the fact that Secretary Clinton decided to use non-governmental email to do work. In an attempt to blur the seriousness of the case, her defenders often cite the fact that one of the predecessors, Colin Powell, also used